Hey everyone, welcome back to Lessons, Topics, and Questions with your artist Peter Bell. I hope everybody's doing really well. If you follow me on my IG business page, I posted a video saying that I would be talking about a subject that I would be discussing on Lessons, Topics, and Questions. And it all stems from an exhibition that I went to go visit last Sunday while in Manhattan. Now, I would encourage you to go visit this exhibition, whether you live in New York or whether you're visiting New York. This is not to be glorified. This is an educational experience, and you would learn a lot from this. So why don't we get right into it, and we're going to have a lot of fun, and it's going to be controversial as well too, like most of my videos that I post in whatever we talk about the subject matter is. Okay, so today's subject is serial killings, and here are the questions that come along with it. Are serial killers still continue to be glorified in film, television, and art? Should people purchase the artwork of serial killers that they do while incarcerated? Should artists depict serial killers in their paintings, drawings, or sculptures? Well, let me get into the first question. Let's get into the first question. I don't think that we as a society are glorifying them. It's true that we're constantly talking about them on talk shows, and we're depicting them in film, television shows, and television miniseries. But I don't like to think that we're making them stars or rock stars as a result of it. I like to think that we are showing the general public that these individuals are real serious people, and that they're not to be glorified. We're showing them as exactly who they are and what they did from both standpoints, both from their side and as well as the victim side as well too. And yes, it's true that while we continue to bring up the subject matter, that the families of the victims are continuing to get hurt over and over again, because they feel like they're actually reliving it. They're going through it all over again, especially after they've been captured, after they've gone to trial, after they've gotten convicted, after they've gotten sentenced, and after they've gone to prison, and after they've even been executed or were murdered behind bars or died a natural death while they were incarcerated. But I like to think that we as Americans, as an American society, is not glorifying them. We are just showing the general public who and what these individuals are, what they did while they were outside, the pain that they've caused, and how they still continue to affect everyone to this day, even though some are dead and some are still alive, whether they be in prison or whether they were executed by capital punishment. So there's a lot of debate on this. It's a sensitive subject matter, and there's still a lot of debate that goes on to this day. But me personally, I don't think that we're glorifying them when we constantly talk about them and when we make movies out of them. I think we're just educating the general public that yes, this is what happened, this is who they are, and this is the effect that they still continue to have on this day. But as far as the glorification is concerned, no, I don't think that that's the case. Now, going back to question number 2. Now, prisoners have been painting artwork since the beginning of when the first prison was started, and even the prisoners of Alcatraz had also took up the subject matter of arts and crafts while they were incarcerated. But I don't know of any prisoner that sold their artwork while they were serving time on Alcatraz. As a matter of fact, if you do the tours of Alcatraz, and if you look into the cells of the prisoners that occupied that cell at one point, you can actually see their original artwork still hanging up in the cell. But I don't know of any prisoner who actually capitalized off their artwork while they were incarcerated. But convicted criminals, especially serial killers, still continue to keep themselves busy to this day by taking up arts and crafts. One serial killer in particular was John Wayne Gacy, and he was known as the clown killer. And while he was on death row, took up the subject of painting, and he did something like this. He created his own persona of Pogo the Clown, which was his way of going to hospitals and doing this for charity events. And he would do this, he would do this at children's hospitals. And he did the charity event that he did it for was the Democratic Party. And I would say it is pretty creepy. And this was his alter ego, Pogo. The name being Po for being Polish and always on the go, whereas Pogo. And this topic was very popular that he painted on death row, and it has been, and this particular painting has been purchased over the years and has been very difficult for buyers and collectors to get their hands on ever since he was executed. But it pretty much speaks for himself. This was just his way of this was just his self-portrait that became very popular amongst our collectors as well. And they're very hard to get their hands on, but he was basically like the beginning of this whole phenomenon of serial killers painting on death row and marketing their artwork. But until victims' rights groups put a stop to it and stop them from profiting off their artwork and profiting off their crime as well, too, him in particular. And to this day, it's still a hot topic about, it still causes controversy about people purchasing the artwork of serial killers to hang on the walls in their homes, their office, or wherever anybody likes to hang up their art. But me personally, do I see a problem with it? Not necessarily, but I can understand the familial aspect of from the family side, that these paintings and drawings were all done by the hands of a killer who had ended lives, and that when people purchase these types of works, that it's blood money and that they're making money off of people's pain. So I definitely can understand the familial aspect. This is something that I don't condone, but I think that this is something that we still continue to have a fascination about, because we all, whether we're truthful about it, whether we're truthful about it or not, but we all have a fascination of what goes on inside the minds of a serial murderer. And that's a fact of life, and I think you'd all agree with me on that. And my last question, I asked, should artists depict serial killers in their paintings, drawings, and sculptures? Well, that's, my fellow artists, the lesson for all this, that is entirely up to you. And I think we should, because like everything else, it's not to glorify. We're just depicting that this is who this individual was. And it's also part of the dark art phenomenon, which happens to be popular amongst buyers and collectors. And I always say, to each his own, but just because you depict something of an individual who committed a awful act does not make you abnormal. You are the artist, you are depicting what you want to depict, and it's your right to express yourself on your paper or your canvas. And for those that collect these items doesn't make you abnormal. We all have different hobbies. We all have different collections. This just happens to be part of the American. This just happens to be part of the American way. That even though we live in a country where we don't like, where there's things that we don't necessarily like, that we don't want to tolerate, but they are here, and I don't know if they're here for a reason, but it doesn't mean it doesn't have the right to be out there, and it doesn't mean that you don't have the right to depict it, because I think that this is a subject that should be talked about, and that we should be educated about. So if anybody happens to visit New York, or who lives in New York, this exhibition is going to be on display until June. So my advice to you, my fellow artists, go see it for yourself, learn from it, educate yourselves from it, and you'll walk away with a very different perspective. I know I did. So I would encourage you to take up the opportunity to go see Inside the Mind of a Serial Killer, the experience, while it's still on display in New York, and you will learn a lot from it. I feel like I have when I went to the exhibition last week. All right, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed the video. So if you have any questions about this topic, please feel free to reach out to me. And if you have any questions with any topics that you would like for me to talk about, please feel free to hit me up at YouTube at Art of Peter Bell. I look forward to hearing your feedback from this, especially on the topics on the topic that we talked about. And I look forward to hearing from you like always. Thank you, everybody.